Hello. In this brief video, we will introduce some features of the Overton Index. This is a new database we currently have trial access to. The two most common uses of the Overton Index are finding policy-related documents and tracking the impact of scholarly research within policy documents. This video covers policy discovery. We will cover impact tracking in another video. So if you're interested in policy-oriented research using the Overton Index, this is how you'll get started. First, use the instructions found in another video to register and log in to the Overton Index. After you're logged in, on the default search screen, select the option for policy documents. Then type in key terms related to your topic. Our example research question is, what do legal policies have to say about using artificial intelligence to analyze patient information in relation to HIPAA requirements? So you can either type keywords related to your topic, all in a string, like this. However, it helps a lot to use quotation marks around any exact phrases, like this. See, we've put quotation marks around the exact phrase artificial intelligence and around the phrase patient information. And if you're familiar with using search operators such as and or parentheses, you could create an even more refined search such as this. So we're looking for the exact phrase artificial intelligence and either the phrase patient information or patient data and the keyword HIPAA. When you're satisfied with your search, click the magnifying glass button. This is the search results screen. First, you'll notice this red exclamation mark. That indicates we're using the trial version of the Overton Index. That just means the number of results we can view are limited. Scrolling down, you'll see the search results. Your search may have more results than you want to skim. For example, this search has over 600 results. But we can further refine the search with the filters on the left-hand side of the screen. If you put your mouse over a filter, a tooltip pops up to explain what it does. For example, this first filter shows search results that cite research from or mention people from specific institutions. And you can see that we have built shortcuts in for UT Health and UT San Antonio. With every filter, you can click the Show More link to get a complete list of options for that filter. So here are all the institutions mentioned or cited in the search results. There are several filters. Each may be useful depending on what you're looking for. For our question about artificial intelligence and HIPAA requirements, we might want to focus on legislative policies in the United States. So in this case, we can scroll down to organization type, and we see there are shortcuts for government, think tank, and IGO. But if we show more, we will see that there are 41 results for legislative bodies. So we can click that filter and apply it. And if we keep scrolling down, we will eventually get to a region filter. Here it is, source country, state, and territory. There's a shortcut for USA. So we click that. And we've moved from 600 results to just 29. And these should be focused on artificial intelligence and patient information and HIPAA requirement from legislative bodies in the United States. After you have a good relevant set of results, you can explore the other useful features. In the gray bar above the search results, you have 4 functions. The first is to save the search. This lets you save the search so that you can run it or revise it sometime in the future. You can also set it to periodically rerun and email you any new results. The next option is See Report. This gives you a breakdown of some of the characteristics of the search results. This is actually more useful for the impact tracking feature of the Overton Index, which we'll get into in another video. The export feature lets you export some or all of the search results into a spreadsheet format or into a citation management map format. This is especially useful if you're doing a systematic review and you're using the Overton Index as a source of gray literature. And Explore lets you jump between the different feature sets of the Overton Index. So although the Overton Index is primarily a policy database, it has different facets for different types of research. And when you start with, say, a policy search as we have, you can jump into the other features. So, for example, this first option lets you see the policies that cite these documents. So that lets you jump forward into more current policies that cite the policies listed in your search results. This lets you list the people mentioned or cited in these documents. So if you're looking for a policy expert or a scholar who is often cited by policy, you can use this feature to jump into the search people functionality of Overton and start looking for people involved in policy and policy research. This lets you see scholarly research that these documents cite. That takes you out of the policy discovery side of Overton and into the scholarly research side of Overton, where you can find articles that have been cited by policy documents. This lets you see the policy documents that these documents cite. So kind of like the first option, except you're going into older policy that serves as a backbone for these current policies. And then the last option is to explore topics in these documents. That takes you into kind of a topical map where you can start exploring policy in related subject areas. Now let's take a closer look at the search results. Every result, of course, has a title. Below the title is a flag that represents the country where the organization that published the document is from. Here is the name of the organization. If you mouse over the organization, you get a pop-up that tells you more about that organization. We keep going to the left. Here is the date of publication for the document, and then here is the document type. Publication is kind of a generic term for a policy document, but sometimes you will see others such as clinical guidance, white papers, or reports. If you're looking for a specific document type, you can find a filter for them on the left. If we keep going to the right, we see a brief overview of what the document is about, but if you mouse over it, you'll get an AI-generated document description. Coming back to the left, in these ovals, we have key terms. These should cover the top level subject area, the subject areas that are most relevant to the document. Here is a tag feature. Remember, you signed in to your personal account when you came to Overton, so these tags will be persistent. Whenever you log in, you will have the availability of those tags, and they will show up on the left-hand side under the filters so you can get back to the documents that you've tagged. And then here is the link to download the PDF. It's important to note that the Overton Index does not have a copy of the PDF in its database. When you follow one of these links, it actually takes you to the organization's website where you will view the document as it's live online. Sometimes you will see a note that the PDF may not be available. That is because the organization that produced it either has made it unavailable or they may have just restructured their website and the link no longer works, and Overton will fix that as quickly as they can. But just be aware that that's something that can happen. Below the PDF link, we have an excerpt, and if you click Show More, you can see more excerpts. These are pages that have high concentrations of our search terms in them, and if you see an excerpt that looks interesting, you can follow these blue links to jump to the page where that excerpt is found. Now, if we actually click on the title of a document, this is the full details page for a policy document. We have much of the information that was available in the search results, but we also have this quick link to see the policy documents that cite this document. So this is kind of like the feature that's at the top of the search results page, except it's for this particular policy only. And likewise, we have the ability to see the 101 articles cited by this document with that link. Below this, we have more topics related to the document. We have institutions related to the research cited by this document. We have funding agencies related to the research cited by this document. We have another link to the policy documents that cite this one. And if we keep going down, we have names that are either mentioned in the document or are associated with the scholarship cited by this document. And if we keep scrolling down, we eventually get to everything cited by this document, including scholarly articles and other policy documents. So that's an example of policy discovery using the Overton Index. Feel free to explore the Overton Index more on your own or contact your liaison librarian if you have any questions. And please use the feedback survey to let us know what you think about the Overton Index. Thank you.